excited about this session because it's about helping each other out and learning about the beautiful journey of improving one's life, aspirations and dreams, and how to actually realize them in practice. And UK, of course, being one of the top destinations of the world, and there's that which hopefully we'll touch on throughout this program. But thank you once again for the honor of being here today.
No, thank you so much. I'm super excited. I mean, I'm so excited about this because I feel whoever's going to watch this, all the students around the globe, this could be the reality check and this could be the real productive thing for them to really go ahead and understand everything, how it works. And for that, to have you, person with decades of experience, sitting on ground, giving us real insights would be great. So, Dr. Faz, coming back to this in UK, we have these questions all the time, and youngsters in our over here or around the globe in Central Asia, Middle East, they're always looking how to narrow or how to just point out a university, how to find out which university to go to. There's so many of them.
Yeah, I think the question to ask first of all is, what do you want to do in life? To be honest with you, because if you don't know what the destination is, then you don't know where the starting point is. To be honest with you. And I think often is the case that students do a program, doesn't matter where it is in the world, and they really don't know why they're doing the program. It just feels good. It's like collecting badges. You just need another badge. But that is not the way to go about things, because it costs money, costs time, and so on. So my advice would be, first of all, to actually see where you want to be in 5 to 10 years' time. And when you're 17, 18, you're probably not looking that far ahead. It seems like years ahead, but time really does fly very quickly. So the first advice would be actually see where you want to be. The next would be how you're going to get to that point. Yeah. So in terms of what's available in the UK, of course, I'm working at Cardiff Met, and hopefully we'll get the opportunity to talk more about the university I'm working at. But just to say that there are well over 100 different universities. And I think for some of your listeners, this may be a surprise, because often they go to, certain people, and they find out there's 6 top ranked universities in the UK. And they all seem to be different depending on which, department store you go to, if you know what I mean. and you're probably wondering, and I'm not surprised, and having gone through that system myself, that is very confusing and so on. So the idea of today is to clear the air, and there's certain things, irrespective of which program or in a way which university you want to apply. I'm hoping that you'll come to Cardiff Met, but which university you want to apply, that there's certain basics that you need to think through. So just to say, where do you start is basically with yourself. You look in the mirror and you say to yourself, what do I want to do in life? And where do I want to be in 5 to 10 years' time? And then decide, and then is the next stage.
Yeah, so Dr. The most important question is admissions. I mean,
Yes.
let's say I've narrowed down university, I know, but I don't know where to start, how to go about it, and what exactly do I have to do in the admissions.
I think
Everyone is like this.
Yeah. I think with that one, I mean, of course, these days we what's called this a mobile phone, yes, and so the world is with us. It's more with us than we think it is. Wherever we are, we're connected to the world. We may not think so. We may think, I left my work now and I'm at home, but we're still connected, and that means the world is a small place, and we can actually find out details straight away. All we have to do is very straightforward, really. We do this for all the time, by the way. If you want a shopping item of some kind of clothes or something, a jacket or a trouser or something, what do? We don't go to, some places say, can you help me with this? We simply look for a store. We already know the store, or we ask a friend, or we ask a colleague, or we ask somebody, and, we are referred to some place. And I feel it's the same here. You effectively, I'm here. I'm going to be, hopefully sharing my experiences, which I'm trying to do now. It's effective. How do you do? First thing is keywords, and it's effectively it's really the words are the subject areas for me. Yeah. So is it business? Is it management? Is it IT? And then of course, all of these titles are macro level, at this level. Then you have to have micro level. Yeah. So if you're talking about IT, is it software engineering? Yeah. Or is it computer graphics? Or is it AI? And so, I mean, you could go to somebody else, and you can look for a prescription from them, but it's a prescription that's coming from them, yeah, in with reference to what you're saying. So you could look in the mirror to yourself, but this is what I'm looking for. Of course, you need a helping hand. You need yourself, for example, and ourselves to actually, guide you the whole works of doing this. But I think if for example, if those who are listening, if after this or right now, if they typed in management courses in the year, they'll get a whole host of websites. I think,
Yeah.
yeah. So you can, it's like going into a shopping mall. You got all these shops, and you're wondering which shop to go into, and then it really depends on yourself. So the starting point for me is firstly where you want to be. The second is what are the tools you want or you need in order to get to that place. So these are the subject areas, and so on. So
Well,
I'm being very generic at the moment. I'll go into specifics if you want me
yeah.
to.
Let me go a bit deeper on this. Like, I mean, we know that, let's say we've identified what we want to study, which subject course outlines we want to study, and then we go, like you said, we go online and search management sciences, and then boom, so many universities popping up, and that, I think that can be very overwhelming for a student, or for a youngster to decide, because they're at a very they're in a very sensitive situation at that time. They want they want best for themselves, so they're like always, this is best, this is good, so that they get confused. So how, what could there be a key to how to identify that, maybe after out of dozens of them, maybe two or three, for them to be able to narrow down whether it's management science or doctor, a medicine, or arts, humanities. There could be something there that, so that you can identify that these three are it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail, and I think they do need you do need a helping hand. You need advice, and you need advice from the right people. Now, who are the right people? Clearly, I mean, sometimes it's the parent. I mean, often it's the parents. In terms of advice, they may not have the experience, in terms of UK education. Many do, by the way, and many do have overseas. It could be a friend. So, in my life, I've dealt with thousands of students, and believe me, I mean, the person who's really advising the student could be anybody. It could be really be the neighbor. It could be a friend, or friend's relative. It could be anybody. If somebody has given their advice, like now, somebody they picked something up from your show, me saying something, and often is the case. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. There's a piece missing. They're looking for that piece. So, having said that, I mean, the UK, one of the things is that, for example, Cardiff Met, we know uh, if students want it in us, they can get free advice. They can come directly to myself, for example, and my colleagues are here as well in the international office. This is all free, no cost for it. They obviously can come to yourselves, for local advice and support. But if they want to know about courses, for example, if they want to do an engineering course, you probably find there's about 50 different engineering courses. So which one is for you? And at the end of the day, it's really, it's like going into a restaurant. You have a menu. We can provide we can provide different, different cuisines and things. But at the end of the day, it's what's your taste, what you want to eat. Yeah. Now we can't
And
force. Yeah, what we
yeah.
can do is guide you. We can say this is more spicy, or this is, this is more oily, or this is this and that. But what we can't then say is that this is good or this is bad for you and so on, because you have to decide depending on what you want to do. Uh, but can
um,
I just say it, just to make it very clear? Maybe it's no, it's a very straightforward and simple process. Me, I'm saying too much here. Going, on a search engine right now would take what, seconds. Yeah, getting a program is another thing. But there are a few other questions I'm sure you're going to ask, which I'll touch on later to give more clarity on this.
coming back to Let's come back to Pakistan, or people from across the borders that are watching. What is the basic requirements for the admission process altogether? I mean, obviously there's a degree requirement or high school requirement, but what other things are there? And as far as the high school requirements, are there any rock bottoms that needs to be covered before they can apply for you studies in UK?
I think the bottom line is this: that you need to be ready for the university. Yeah, when you're doing when you're at a school, irrespective of where you actually, these are stepping stones. It's like a step ladder, and you have to actually walk on each of those steps. You have to actually physically, you have to finish the schooling. Then we have college here, which is after 16 to 18. So for us, a student has to be an age of 18. If they're not 18, there's regulations to protect the young person, and they can still join us, but we have to go through some process, making sure that they have a guardian to look after them, so on. Often I say, but having said that, it's a stepping stone. So you need your sort of standard qualification, your schooling. Sometimes schools under 18, that's fine, 13 years or whatever of education, that's fine, as long as the level is there. When I say level, often when students apply, they talk about years. They talk about year 1, year 2, year 3. The system here is in terms of level. So we do have year 1, year 2, year 3, but it's translated into an academic benchmarking level.
Right.
So year 1 equates to level 4, year 2 equates to level 5, year 3 equates to level 6. And now in the UK, typically a degree is 3 years. Okay. So before then, of course, before level 4 is, guess what? Level 3. So level 3 should be happening in school. So for example, A levels are level 3. Yes? And so on. And then you can backtrack. Yeah. And then if you go all the way up, whereas the master's is level 7 and then PhD is level 8. So why I'm sharing this? Because these are stepping stones. And in order to
Right.
join this, you can't skip a step. You can't say that, oh, I'm not going to do level 4 and level 5. I'm just going straight in level 6 from level 2. It doesn't work. Why? Because you will fall. I don't know if people have tried climbing a ladder, missed a step. I hope never tried, but it's experience. Just don't do it. Yeah. And the
Well,
same thing academically, because we want students to pass. Yeah. And
yeah.
have.
But Dr. Saab, at the same thing, a lot of people don't know about it over here. And I was having this discussion with another gentleman I had on my show as well, that this general notion that you can only go to study abroad, especially in the UK, after your A levels, or in Pakistan case FSC, or in the Central Asian case high schools. But as I believe, there's another option that you could actually start studying from, well, after
Sure.
you're done with the O levels, like from that's like 10th in our area. So is that a possibility?
That is a possibility, and the reason I say that is, just before COVID, I needed to check that up for a student who wanted to actually do their A levels here, and then effectively come to, and I did check with the universities, so colleges, we call them colleges here, and they were able to take international students. Here, if you need a license from the government, it's a UKVI license. And if you have that, if the college, this is the college, they need a license to be able to sponsor a student, international student. So if the college has that license, and if the license allows for that, and then they would be publicizing that. And I think there is this thing that students feel that you just have to come here for this. No, you could actually also private online schools that are very much international, that students can actually join. This is for the schooling. So even the schooling, if they want to do certain subjects, they would be available. And the basic subjects, English, maths, and science, is always there. But in addition to that, there may be other subjects. It will cost a bit, but the experience would be likewise. It's like being in the UK. And who knows, they may be offering summer schools and other activities like that where you could come physically to the UK. And that's before even you get here. A number of students do that. I also know that there are colleges and schools who are actually catering specifically for international students, because they are our feeder colleges. So students finish there and then they come to us, and these are international students. Their status is
Hmm.
international. So yeah, I think often is the case. I have to say that some students and some mindsets are lastminute.com. They think about, oh, let's think about international now. But international can be much early, and your experience will be comparable to a student physically being in the classroom here. in the UK. It's definitely in certain subject areas. So
But
yeah,
Dr. Faiz, again, this question, like in the last early after COVID's recovery, I mean, people used to ask me why sometimes why UK is better to go studies. I mean, it's not like the other countries are not. I mean, we're definitely not promoting that here, but at that time during COVID, UK was the only country that had its borders open for international students, at least for Pakistan. So it was
yeah.
a huge traffic from Pakistan coming up and taking admissions in London, UK, and flying up to UK. But after that, once we've settled out from COVID, now COVID issues, and now everything's coming back to normal, in the positive spirits of it, why UK? Why UK is might be, maybe, or is better education system than the other countries? If not better, why it could be a better choice?
Well, the answer to that, why not? That's one answer. Maybe I'm one of the living examples of what UK can do for you. Having worked in Dubai as well as in Germany and so on, and other universities in the UK through UK education. Look, everything has, everybody. If you have some cash in your pocket, you take that cash out. Look at the value of that cash. You have cash and I have cash. Your cash, you may have 100, whatever. I may have 100. The value of that cash is different. It is different, and it's not one is better than the other. One is more value than other. Yeah. So the certificate that one gets from the UK, I can only talk about UK here, more currency value. Yeah. So let me give you an
Okay.
example. I said I worked abroad, and because there's a system here, and every country has a system, with due respect, but I'm just talking about how people perceive the UK system. So the currency, the certificate I have, irrespective, yeah, has a value that I can take around. I know that it gives me certain wings. I call them wings. I can fly around the world, but other certificates will do that to a part, but they won't go as far. So I'm not saying I'm generalizing here, but I'm saying it's the case. If you say that for example, if you want to work in parts of the world, they will ask for where did you get your degrees from? They will ask that
Right.
question. They will
Of
ask
course.
where and then the next thing is your qualification recognized? What do they mean by that? Does your ministry recognize the qualification you have? Has it been attested? Yeah, with UK, you don't often, well, you don't get that issue because all the universities are, I can tell you, I've got three
Recognized
degrees and I've
and
got three different qualifications from different universities, and it hasn't,
yeah, I
nobody.
can. I mean, I can totally relate to it because like in my early child, when I was doing my high school, I have done O levels, A levels, and when I went abroad with it, one of the best things about that was that, or even for O levels, A levels, that I didn't have to get it verified from anywhere. I mean, I just had to, submit those certificates. So it had all these, center numbers, candidate number, exam number, XYZ. So the university or any place that needed those documents, they only had to verify it with Cambridge board. That's pretty much it. I didn't have any attestations needed, unlike other things were here. So I can totally relate to that. But coming to the very important point, you've raised a really important point, and really, it touches the nerves, the sensitivity of all the youth of at least the third world countries. Why do we go to study abroad? I mean, it's just not because, I mean, obviously there's passion, there's the want for it, but the more is the need. Why do we go? We go to study abroad so that we can secure a better future for us. So in that particular case, especially from the last 18 months or so, or even, let's say fair game 24 months, the economy of Pakistan has changed drastically. Whether
Yes,
it's for the good or bad, that's a different debate. That's not what we're here to talk about. But the point is that a lot of youth is flying abroad. And when they try, and a lot of them is looking towards UK as well. So when they go for studies and for the universities, they're also looking at this aspect that whether if we go for a bachelor's, for a master's, can we or will we be able to secure a permanent future in the UK, or maybe at the same time be able to do some jobs, take care of our our own expenses, because sometimes we have students whose parents have even sold their houses to fund their students to go abroad, children to go abroad, study, and make a future for themselves. So, could you shed some light on this aspect, whether they can work during the, during their studies, and what are the possibilities post studies?
Yes, I can. Um, I think I think the key thing here. I mean, your question is quite loaded, to be honest with you, and I'm just there's so many aspects to it. I'm just trying to see where to pick this up. Uh, I think if you break your question down a little bit more,
Let's
I
let's
think
let's start let's
before
start
you,
from
because
let's
there's
start
different
from
aspects. You started from
yeah,
one thing and you moved all the way to something
let's
else.
start from them being able to come and study
Yes.
and be able to do some part-time, if
Yeah.
that is a possibility.
Okay. So the first thing is the intention has to be right. Yeah. Because the motivation is linked with the intention.
True.
The intention here is to be is skill yourselves so that you have greater opportunities in life in terms of job opportunities, in terms of or being able to work in different places, not just in a particular country like Pakistan, but also around the world. So it becomes a passport for work. Yeah, but itself, it's not the main motivation. The main motivation is that it upskills. When you say upskill doesn't necessarily mean that you are in the classroom and you learn a lot of techniques, and that's wonderful, and you need to do that. That's great. But it's also about experiencing a different culture and being part of the global family. Often we feel that the world is just what apps we are using. It's not. Yeah, every culture is different. Every tradition is different. You fly from one airport to the next airport, it's the same, but you go to another part of a country, and if it's a large country, then you suddenly find the people are speaking similar language, but the culture is different. So it's very important. So it actually helps you to actually become a better person. The way you approach things, yeah, because degrees, after all, what they do is, for me, they add the wisdom and the intelligence in the way you think. Yeah, irrespective of what subject you're doing. And I believe me, I've done a lot of studies myself. But you can put that aside. Today I am what I am because each experience has really helped me to be the person I want to be. So I think
No,
it's very, very important that the motivation is right. Because if the motivation is, and sometimes often, I'm afraid, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, there's a mindset that, or I really want to come and work in the UK, but I'm using education as a reason for doing that. That is a no-no straight up. That is a recipe for disaster, to be honest with you. Because you are here in the UK for only one reason, and that is to study. And
yeah,
if
I think, sorry, I think you've highlighted a very important point, that a lot of individuals who still want to study, but their intent is not right. They
yes,
have not figured it out. They're thinking that maybe we could use studies as a bridge to go work abroad. But while that's not the case, that could, really, I would like to tell this to the viewers, that this could really land you in a lot of trouble and a disaster. It's a disaster in making. So let's not do this. Let's not jump into shortcuts. Let's not just hope that everything is going to be put as spoon fed to us. It's not going to work that way. We have to work hard. So for us, if you want to secure a future in any country, you need to learn their ways. Like, just like you said, the culture thing is there. So yeah, for students who are watching this or are going to watch this, this is a good takeaway. If you're going there for studies, focus on your studies and work alongside for the future. Not just, there's no shortcuts. You need to study there. If you're going for studies, make sure your intent is for studies, of course. Yeah. So Dr. Saab, this is very important thing. You were talking about culture. So a lot of students, when they go from here, there's a huge thing that I see online, social media. After the advent of social media, you get to see so many things online on the groups and everything. So I see people talking about culture shocks. They're unable to understand what's going on. They feel anxiety. They feel sometimes depressed, not all the time, because they just hop into a place where it's everything so new, maybe so overwhelming for them. Do you have any tips regarding to that? Someone's coming to study for
Yeah.
in UK.
My tip is switch off the mobile phone and stop watching social media videos. To be honest with you, to be frank with you, I think we are all so exposed, including myself and ourselves here, yeah, into this virtual reality world that doesn't exist. Yeah, we have, and it's not just phones, it's television and so on, it's news and so on. You know, the reality is totally different. Having traveled the world, and I'm sure you, of course, yourself and many of your viewers here would have. The world is a different place. I mean, you can paint a very negative picture of a country, culture, and so on, depending where the camera is pointing. I'm
Yeah.
afraid, uh, uh, you know, the look, the best way I would say before you do anything is take a holiday if you're able to take a holiday, yeah, and actually see a place for yourself. Uh, uh, you know, uh, UK, for example, the wonderful places in the UK. I'm in Cardiff, which is 2 hours away, as you know, from London. It's absolutely beautiful around here. Wales is always known for its, greenery, and the people here are just absolutely, awesome. Really are. It's very warm welcome and so on. So, media. There's perceptions about certain countries. I'm sitting in the UK here. There are perceptions. People wouldn't want to travel if they've seen something on television. But then you go and you visit that country, you say, "Oh, that's not us." That's about 300 miles away. There was a small incident. Or there was a riot or something. In fact, but it's perception. We live in a world of perception. I believe, for instance, yeah. The key thing here is that yes, the whole point of it is that look, you're not going to learn anything if everything's rosy. If everything's rosy, you're going to always smell the flowers. But unless the thorns prick you, yeah, you're not going to appreciate the rose. I'm sorry. If you know what I mean.
What here's the funny question for you, like, and this is like a like this is with the mindset of a local, for all those individuals who are going to watch this, and I know this is in their mind,
Yeah.
and I'm having this. I just got an inbox DM to ask this question. You said visit the place, right? I mean, visit the place, actually going physically there. So sometimes there's a huge issue of securing a visit visa on the first place
Yes.
for the UK, especially
Yes.
for third world countries, for Pakistan, other countries as well. I don't want to name other countries just to be okay. So how do one go about the visa process? I mean, I had to ask you questions about the visa, student visa anyway, but I mean, is it possible when you say
Yes, it is.
visit? Is it
Let,
really
let, let me let
possible?
me let me show you how it is. These students will be at a particular institution, and the institutions themselves can organize a study visit. I had a group of students just recently, about 3 weeks back, from Pakistan,
Hmm.
here in Cardiff, in the UK. They had just come to Cardiff. They went around UK, of course, touring UK as well, but they were mainly here. And I've got another group of students coming to Egypt in about 10 days' time. Yeah.
Nice.
So it can, and the visas, of course, they have visas. And, the visas are, it's very straightforward process. If you are interested, you're obviously at an institution somewhere, tell them to talk to us. And let's organize a summer school or winter school. We got, myself, I've organized visits for students from Japan, Australia, from more developing countries like Pakistan, other places. It can be done. Of course, if it's an individual, then it looks a bit odd that you just want to come. But I think there are obviously people go for holiday to the UK as well. So it has to be a genuine visit. I think I'm not the border force, and I'm not analyzing any of these applications. But I guess if you come in as a family, it works out better than as individuals, especially if you're young and you come in, for a holiday. It doesn't matter which country you're coming from, wherever you're going, they will question whether how legit you are. I mean, you must have seen the programs from other countries apart from UK. What happens at the airport. So these are genuine things that you have to be smart about. But if I'm just saying, I'm opening up now. If anybody wants to come to the UK for any experience, then let's talk.
Yeah, Dr. Fiaz, with the the humble visit visa consultants around here are probably really angry with you right now because what you just said in the last 2.5 minutes was something is a game changer for all those individuals, from all these youngsters from A levels. They're looking to study abroad and they're like, hey, how do we go? It's so difficult. You've given them the key,
Oh yes,
and we
yeah,
know,
there is.
we
And can
know.
I say it yourself? You could organize a visit. You could organize a visit, and British Council also a good call. They are experts in these things well, as we know. Effectively, the reason I mentioned them is effectively, then they can to support you in the visit because you come to UK, it's UK education. I'm sure they can. I'm sure happy I mentioned them. But we are here. For example, you organized a visit, right? Just say you after after Christmas, let's say, and it's a study visit. We have international weeks, by the way, here in Cardiff, Met. We have an international week that's happening that's happening after Easter. I think at the end of near the end of April for a week. Students come here for all week to get what exposure and it's a taster week of what we got to offer. This is international week. Students physically come from around the world,
So
so they can apply for that. And we can organize something. Again, I mean, look, I'm a great believer. Where there's a will, there's a way, and it has to be a genuine, a genuine will to actually learn something and to actually. And if that is the case, then there's a way, and it's a legit way, and we want that.
no, this is. Let me just, I mean, it's all you are giving this opportunity for students like viewers. Understand this, that Dr. Fiaz from Cardiff Metropolitan University is mentioning that there is an international week coming in, and if
Yeah,
someone wants to come in and have a look at all
yeah.
the environment, how the university, Cardiff University works, how the UK environment is, this is your chance. All the time we're talking about we're not able to do things because we don't have the opportunity. And thank you, Dr. Fiaz. You're putting this on this live show, and this is amazing for people who are going to watch this or are actually watching this. You can reach out to Dr. Fiaz. I mean, there is no such thing as commercialism over here. You can reach out to them,
Yeah.
and you can secure yourself an opportunity to go and see on your own how it is going to be and avoid any future problems and maybe secure a future for yourself. Thank you again. Again, we've established how visit visas could be possible for students. Now let's talk about the student visa itself. So we've come across the admission process. We've maybe secured a conditional or same unconditional of acceptance later. What
Uh,
now?
yeah, I think before we get there, I think I haven't quite covered the application process. To be honest with you,
Well,
let me.
I'd love to. If you're up for it, let's do the application
Yeah, yeah.
process first.
I'll give headlines now. I think all of these need sessions as well, and there's a session on ranking, for example. People like to talk about scholarships and so on. There's some myths about these things. I think if there's a question, I'm happy to answer that. But for now, in terms of the
I
application
think
process.
I think the most important right now, apart from the ranking, of course, is the application. If really the application itself.
Let me be absolutely clear. Yeah, application process is basically, we look in the mirror in the morning, hopefully, and we dress up because we know we need to impress people. This is you. We do that. Application is the same thing. That is your mirror. Think of the university that hopefully Cardiff Met you're applying to. Yeah, your application is a mirror to you. So, just as you want to be looking tidy and neat and presentable, your application needs to be tidy, neat, and presentable. And you may
Right.
say, well, this is common sense. Yeah, I think sometimes it right. There's a whole host of scenarios I can go through. Yeah, okay. With that, you need some clothes to wear as well. Just as in the morning you wear some. Same thing with the application. You need some documents. They're your clothes for the application. Yeah. Now, depending on the subject area, I can go.
Sure, sure. I mean, this was. Sorry, I'll just. This was such a brilliant way to put it up. So simple. Thank you so much. Please continue.
Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to life easy. There's this notion that somehow this education in UK is very hard. It's going to be difficult. I don't know what to do. This is a mind game. Yeah. If you said that to me in 2030, maybe 20, maybe 30, definitely 30 years, then I could say, but these days, these things, look at this. This is a beautiful session, I think, that I'm able to share and I'm learning myself, and hopefully you're benefiting from. You are actually getting this free advice, and to actually change your life, your life, hopefully your community's life and your society's life. And this application process, the documentation, of course, what do you need? You need certificates to say that you have reached the level we were talking about earlier on. But there's a couple of other things, depending on subject. Sometimes you need a portfolio of work, and like art and design, like medicine and stuff like that. We can talk about that maybe in another session. But you need to demonstrate that you have acquired that level of knowledge, and what is your skill set and knowledge acquisition. With that is the personal statement. This is very, very important. Very important. Right. Firstly, it can't be AI generated. Yeah.
There you go. Hope shattered.
Yeah. Shattered. Yeah. Personal means it's personal to you. Yes, it has to be personal to you. It has to be you. You can't be somebody else. So don't get somebody else to write you. You have to write. This is coming from the heart. Yeah. That's the thing. Second thing is personal to the university you're applying to. Now, why is that important? How many personal statements you think I read that are applying to Cardiff Met but have somebody else's name on it?
I'm sure you've read a lot. I'm sure I've seen those.
So this is a total failure. So if you write into a university, especially to us, and it's got some other universities' name, we are very clear that you haven't actually done the personal side to it. You haven't even read the website. You haven't seen the website. You haven't seen the program. We need, in our statement, we need 2, 3, 4 things. One, firstly, why do you want to come to us? If you don't know, that is a problem for you. And that's a problem for us if you join us. Yeah, because there isn't that thinking already that you want to do something in life. Why do you want to do this course? Why do you want to do this program? Yeah. How does this program actually help in the career aspirations I'm talking about earlier on? Yeah. Okay. So these things you need to think through. So these are personal statements. A page to 1.5 page. Yeah. Okay. Now, the personal statement sometimes has more weighting than the actual application. The application is bog standard. What's your name, your contact details, what qualification, and most people have them. Yeah. The personal statement is make or break often, especially when there's limited seats. Yeah. Some programs, because of the specialism, the workshops and the laboratories and so on, the equipment that there is limited, 30 or 50 or, whatever number. Yeah. And so, so your personal statement is probably going to be the tiebreaker, if you know. Yeah. It's either going to make you give you offer or not. So what we have to do is make sure, this is what the Cardiff Met were. I can't speak for other universities, although I have experience of other universities I'm not going to mention here. Yeah. But Cardiff Met, we are very thorough. And the reason we are thorough is why? Not because we don't want you to come to us. We do want you to us, but we want you to have the best possible experience. How are we going to ensure that? Well, firstly, we want to make sure the language is there. Not just a ticking box language, but in certain programs you have to converse. And converse means conversation. But conversations in different ways. Sometimes it's verbal in terms of a presentation, sometimes it's written, and sometimes it's visual. Yeah, okay. You have to critique work. In other words, look at your work and fact, and you have to critique other people's work, your colleagues' work, and so on, so that you learn and they do yours, and you work in teams. Yeah. So those kind of things are very, very important to us. And in some of our programs, especially the arts programs, for example, and design programs like architecture and product design, interior design, and so on, we are very, very clear on this, that students need help and advice. And we provide, by the way, we call it an interview, but it's really trying to find out where the student is. The personal statement is very personal to you, but also to the university applying to. And if the second bit is in, believe me, you will get stuck. So the application process is very clear. Most universities, and especially Cardiff Met, is free. You apply, you can apply online for international, and it's totally free. And even the offer letter and in fact is free. I provide a personal service, more personal service. yeah, to students who need that advanced support. And I actually can get feedback. I can actually try to get feedback for Cardiff Art and Design, yeah, from students who want to apply before. And I use, you have my mobile, it's on the poster, yeah, and you can always back to me. But we have local, college like yourself, Jibran, so that you can actually help them locally. But for our side, it's very this process is very, very important because it demonstrates your thinking process in terms of where you want to be. If you don't know where you want to be, I can share stories with you. By the way, I've been to places where I think of people. People may laugh with this. Long story, but basically, I've talked to students one to one, and I've asked them what they want to do. The particular name of a program, I won't mention it. It was a business management type of program. And all of them said, wow, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And they all said, there's about 10 of them. And then I said, what happens after this program? Believe me, none of them had any idea. And they all laughed. They all laughed as if it was really funny. And, I was very sad, actually, to be honest with you. Your parents have invested in so much and so on. But, we just have to gears right, because if the gears are not in the right position, your car is not going to go anywhere. And I think it's very important with the application process that you are clear. If you're not sure, that we have colleagues like yourself, Jimran, and then we have ourselves here as well, actually advise you and provide you. And really, this advice is, I call it gold dust, because because it's practical. I'm speaking from experience here. I'm talking about. You said decades. You made me sound like a dinosaur, but I'm a few years anyway.
And some decades.
I've dealt with many. When I say dealt with, I've tried to help thousands of students, and
I think those are, yeah. Please.
The other aspect to this is money, and hopefully we'll have opportunity to talk about that in another session because we'll need more time. But if you play it right, you can actually not free, by the way, in the UK, as far as I know. But unless you find something, good luck. But nothing's free. But one thing for sure, you can actually save a lot of money if you're smart. And and that is another session. Money I can go through it, but effectively you can save thousands over a 3-year course.
No, Dr. Fiaz, I think you've phrased a really important question, because all the time that when I'm also going to meetings or in trainings and meeting this youth individuals from universities, I always lay this emphasis. Yeah, you might be one of the most talented individual, most gifted individual, but if you're unable to communicate with your audience, whether it's stakeholder, whether it's your boss, whether it's your friends, family, spouse, anywhere, whether it's personal or professional life, I think your talents, your gifts are useless, because then you're not able to put them forth and use them to make leverage, right? So I always lay emphasis. You need to know when, where, how, who, whom, in what tense are you going to talk, and how to address them. Yeah, that's going to be a game changer. So really saddening to hear this. This is also done at the international level, but I hope that this changes, and that whoever's watching this also understands this, that it's better to learn from others' mistake than to commit one on your own, because then you have to pay for it as well. So communication is the key in the thing, and I think how Dr. Saab mentioned it, Dr. Fiaz mentioned it, that you need to lay emphasis. You need to work hard on your personal statement. It could very well be the decision making for the people who are reviewing it. So, Dr. Saab, that's one thing. What else is there in the application that's a key factor?
Yeah, the personal statement also, of course, just do the basics, spell check it, and make sure. Yeah, I never. It's like wearing a shirt and you're not looking whether it's clean or not. Who does that?
I'm having a question, Dr. Saab, sorry. Wondering, what are the 3 top challenges students are facing when applying from overseas, apart from statement? Let's talk about the other 3 if you can highlight any.
Well, challenges. I think top 3. My God, that's putting me on the spot. What are the top 3 challenges? I think there's students are often not sure. They're not sure about their career, and they need help in that. They need guidance. So somebody wants to be something. For example, I was talking to somebody even today, and we were talking about a subject area, and then it clicked that subject area is not a 3-year program, because if you want to pick up professional accreditation, it's going to be a 7-year program. You do 3 years, then you have to do another year, at least another 2 3 years, and so on, in order to practice before you become a professional recognized person, so you can do that. So I think one of the challenges is effectively that is the end game in terms of knowing where you want to be. But the other difficult, I think most people I've actually met around the world, they simply just don't know who to go to for good advice, for any advice, to be honest with you. I'll give you another example. I was at an airport, I won't mention which airport, as I was going to catch a flight, a good friend of mine, and they said, look, I've just played thousands of locals here, I won't mention the currency because you will know which country it is, and they gave me this advice, and it doesn't useful. And I said, did you forget my number? You could have called me. I was giving you free advice. Why did you go to this person? Oh, Dr. Fiaz, I thought you would be busy, and I went there, and they really. I said, now you're calling me at the airport. My advice to you is, forget them, and let's talk about, how we can actually help you. So often, you have to find who's going to give, like the medical doctor, whichever country it is, they say that, something have blessings in them, there's something about, some hands that can actually cure things. They have
True.
this miracle touch. And I think it's, let's say that is the case for academic advisors, but there are academic advisors who can give real life experience. I've been a student, in different UK universities. I worked in three different universities. Well, I've been in the front line, advising students, and I feel changing thousands of lives as a lecturer, as well as a program director, as well as advisors. And I think it's very, very important that getting good advice. So the second challenge is I'm not giving any order, but I think that is the second challenge. I think the third challenge is the mindset. Students who often come, their mindset is not right. Some of them, I have to say, their mindset is they're looking at work, and they're effectively looking. Sometimes they're looking for employment rather than study. That is a no. I'm not saying you can't study, by the way. Sorry, you can't work. You can work, 20 hours a week when you're in term time, and full time, I believe, in holidays and so on. In the UK, you get lots of holidays, so there's plenty of time to work. But that is not going to give you enough to actually pay the fees and so on. But it gives you enough to feed yourself in a way, or in part, or to buy something and buy gifts for your parents, for thanking them for all the support they've given you, and so on. But I think the money is not right. I think the first challenge. So let me rephrase that then. The first challenge is yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you're looking for, the world is not gain and gain. I will always say there's no gain without pain.
True.
And what I speak from experience. You're probably looking at me and you think, wow, this guy's, look at him, he's living the life. But you don't see all those years of
Struggle.
hard work and sacrifice my parents and others have made for me here. I was a roadmap for my family. I come from very good backgrounds, as some of you may know. So these don't come for free. You have to actually put something in to get it out. And if you're not willing to put something in, you are not going to get anything. What you are going to get out is not of value. I just want to finish with it. The other thing is, make sure that at the end of the day, the currency is right. The certificate you get in your hand has value. You may have a bachelor's of science degree in science, but which country is it from? I'm not talking about universities here, I'm talking about country at the moment, yeah? I'm not going to go down there. And that will matter. And by the way, there are horror stories as well, where people have got PhDs and they weren't recognized by their employer after, check-in, and they had to actually, terminate or move on. So there are horror stories like that, but fortunately, most universities are genuine and most qualifications are recognized.
But I think, Dr. Fayaz, I think it's so much technology, so much information, so many legit websites that you can go on and cross verify all these things. So, I mean, it's okay if people do make mistakes, but at this stage, if making mistakes like these, or maybe not making mistakes, neglecting the necessary hard work or cross reference to check the career making decisions, before making career decisions. I mean, it's something that's going to push back on you, that's going to come back on your face. So better do it now, better do the hard work, better make the extra leg work, and verify things before ending up in something like that. And I hope no individual has to come across that, whether they're from third world, anywhere from around any globe. But coming back to it, I mean, you mentioned about the personal statement that was really productive. There's really enhanced discussion on that, why it's important. Then you talk. I mean, the 3 points are really nice about the challenges. I think those are really genuine points, and something that people can actually relate to. They're not sure what they want to do, why they're coming in, and what they're going to do. So it's obviously important. Think about it. That's why we always talk about invoking critical thinking. Start thinking critically. Start asking questions to yourself, and start studying research as much as possible. So, and the most important thing, if you are unable to find something, then find someone who is legitimate enough, who has knowledge enough to come to you, just like yourself, Dr. Fiaz, or people. There are a lot of really renowned and acknowledged consultants sitting out there in the countries
Yes, of
that you
course they
can
are.
come in touch with. Yeah. So that's so. But coming back to the applications, any other particular aspects that you think is really crucial
Yes,
in the
I think
application?
you also have to value those who are giving good advice. And I'm not saying fly the flag or something. I'm saying take that to heart. One of the most disappointing things I find is that after you spend a lot of time with students, and right, prospective students, not just the Cardiff Met, general in my previous life as well, previous universities, and it's fine. They have a choice. Yeah, but then they come at the end of the day. I'm talking about maybe a few months, and then they come back with something weird. Or I've talked to my friend who's not in the education field, by the way. Yeah, oh, my friend is living in Manchester or one of the other cities or somewhere, and he's telling me, oh, it's different. You can give me this, give me that, accommodation and everything. And I'm thinking, hold on, why you do this? I mean, if that is the case, then yeah, good luck to you. But there's a mindset. The reason point, I mean, the grass is greener and easier somewhere else. See, somebody who's been in the field, who's in the field right now. I'm talking to students right now, just before and afterwards. I'm sure who are coming to Cardiff, man. It's a different, it's a different reality. And I've actually worked with thousands of students who have come to the UK. And to this day, I mean, no one back. I'm saying, and said, "Oh, Fiaz, Dr. Fiaz, you said something. It's not quite right. It's different here." In fact, they said exactly the opposite. That everything, wow, this is exactly how you described it. But I think when advice is given, sometimes it's to the medical doctor. They give you a prescription. You don't like the taste of medication. Just take it. Yeah. And look, I think the thing I have to say here is that there's nothing stopping any of your viewers who succeed in life. Absolutely nothing. If you feel it is, that's a barrier. Where there's a will, there's a way. And you have to just work your way through it. It may take a little bit longer because you have some hurdles to jump, but nothing's going out of the sky for you if you're just going to sit there. Because I've seen that as people have said to me, "Oh, Douglas, I'm going to be doing this, and I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you." You see, 10 years later, they're sitting there and saying the same thing. It will not happen. I'm just speaking from reality. You have to actually make that sacrifice. Somebody has to come back and say. In the UK, by the way, I mean, that we have the graduate route. After 2 years, sorry, after you graduate, you can stay in the UK, for 2 years and you work. So, often students come and they have some loans they borrowed. They can work and pay back the loans. They have a degree, they have a certificate, yeah, that gives you wings and flies. And in addition to that, yeah, you have work experience. On top of that, you got money, you paid back the loan. And on top of that, you probably made money, hopefully, yeah, to take some back home, wherever home is, and some home business or buy your father or your mother the best car in the world, just to be grateful to them, and that kind of thing. So what I'm really saying is there is a model if people do that, but if people are waiting waiting for for yourself, Doctor Sir, or myself, or somebody else to say, well, here's a car for you, and you can drive where we want to. In reality, that's not reality. We're living in the the fiction world talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
talking about reality. I mean, isn't that the gist of all it? I mean, we as humans would like to hear things that reaffirms our beliefs or our want to beliefs. Things that we want to believe or think that's right, and we want to hear that. And every time and any time we listen something that's not according to those beliefs, we feel that those are not the right things, and that person or individual or consultant company is not the person, not the entity that we need to take advice from. Unlike where the notion should be that we should be ready to accept the realities. Realities
and
often come in a
the,
harsher way,
and the
and
realities are this. The reality, just to say, the reality is UK is an open market. Yeah, we welcome international students. We hundreds of thousands of students coming from around the world, and this empowers the young people, whoever. When I've changed, my family has changed, and as a result, hopefully, I've contributed to the communities, and society around it. I'm doing that right now. I'm meeting students from around the world. I'm meeting home students, UK students, and we're blending in and we're helping each other. And I'm sending students students are coming here, by the way, and students are also going abroad as well. So I think the bottom line is, you have to mirror and say, do you want to be something in life? And if you want to
true.
be in, how are you going to do it? I believe in education. I believe in UK education. I've got personal experience of that demonstrate UK education pays and pays back dividends. I'm sitting here as a example of that. And there's many others who are in that position as well. Thousands maybe have benefited from that. So it's
Definitely. Yeah, please, please.
so it's important that you need to be motivated. Yeah, if you want to see change, then be that change. That's what I would say.
No, definitely. I mean, for all those individuals, like I always talk about, there's a human concept that they connect with people that are the real life examples. And what better example could it be right now than yourself on this live show? You're actually in UK. If you've been there, done that, and now you're helping so many other individuals, youngsters, employees, and everyone to be on the straight right path. So yeah, we should learn from you, and this is a very great, good opportunity at the same time. So yes, learn,
And I
learn.
just I just want to
That's the
say
point.
also, yeah, exactly. I just want to say also that they are my students who are successful business people right here in the UK, came from different parts of the world, yeah, and they are my students, and they've set up their own small SMEs, we call them medium-sized enterprises, and they are very successful, millionaires. And then I'm very happy for them. And this is in the UK. So it's not the case of just come in and spending money and running off. It's a case of actually doing what's the right thing. They wanted to actually, and they actually did PhD, by the way. They came to did a program, maybe a master's, and went on and did a PhD. They became doctorate, and now they set up their, not now, they've been doing it for years. There are success stories, and there are people back home, where home was, and they have written back to me and said, Dr. Fiaz, you really inspired me to be what I'm today. And they think that. So, I'm very humble at all of that. It's a way of contributing something back. But look, I say once again, just step up, step forward. There's so many opportunities out there. You can have opportunities online. You really, you don't really need to leave the house straight off. There are. You need to just plan your life, and we can help if you had planning. We can suggest anyway in terms of how that can be done.
Talking about help, we need to know another thing from you. This is really key things, because from my own personal experience as a consultant as well, education consultant, that there was time that it was really hard to, I'm talking about US right now. It was really hard to secure a student visa for US, but unlike that, that's not been the case for UK. So for that, I mean, I would like to for you to give out some insights on securing student visa for UK. Is it really is it something particular things that we have to keep our focus on, be worried about, be careful on? what could be, and things that we should definitely do not do. Just like how you told the
Oh,
AI thing. So those are things, because sometimes I've come across students who've come to me after a rejection of a
yeah,
student visa, and often, yeah, I won't name what the issues were. I mean, I'll leave that to you. But sometimes there are very, very, very meager issues
yeah,
that are overlooked, and I mean, it makes me believe that then it's our name that gets bad, because if they're going to a consultant, something like that,
yes.
we get blamed for that. So yeah, it'll be nice for them to know in the first place as well. This is social media. I mean, it's a world for everyone.
It is. I think much of what I've said today contributes to the visa process. Having a strong application, and have being genuine, for example, contributes. So those documentation that university can ask is not just for you to be on the program, but for you to be in the country. Yeah. So because we have since just about all universities have a license to sponsor. We have to sponsor you when you come. You are our student. We have to look after you. So for you to be in the country, to be a student, and to stay in the country. So because of that, we need to have the document. This is why the application process. I spent time on that because you has to be genuine. So this is what they're looking for. It's very basic. Everyone's looking for: are you genuine? Are you real? Are you honest? Put it that way. In the application you're making, do you really want to be a student? Yeah. If so, the personal statement, that bit about how does that fit in with your career aspiration? If you already thought through, when you come to the interview, they will ask you, and you will say, "This is exactly how it fits in because I read on the website, or I talked to the course leader. This is what it's about. It actually fits in." So this is why we have minimal rejections. In fact, hardly any rejections. We are thorough. This thing is, you have to prepare for this. We do a pre-visa interview session with yourselves to first not just tick the boxes, but also to make sure that you know what to expect. So, and yourselves as consultants, you would also help, of course. This is a team effort. Um, but can I say, I think the visa process, I'm a great believer that things are done in stages. It's the stepping stone. People start thinking about the visa and so on. But the first thing is what I've already said about your thinking, where you want to be. Next is the trail and so on. The visa also is the finance side of things. Look, if you haven't got a strong finance model, then you're not going to get the visa. I'll be upfront with you. It's very hard. You're going to find. I'll be very surprised. And second thing, you fail your course. And the reason you're going to fail your course is you'll be working harder than you should be. Let's put it. I'm not going to say anything more than that. But you understand me. Effectively, you're not focused on the program, on the course. You're going to fail the course. So what happens then? You're wasted your £15,000 of fee or 20,000 fee or whatever fee. It's about around 15 to 16,000 pounds, which is the lowest, one of the lowest in the country. Yeah. So you've wasted that. That is your money that you have, your parents' money that you wasted for that year. You have wasted a year of your life. Yeah. So I'm trying to give different things here. You are actually, because it's very important that you get your priorities right. So with the visa process, I mean, what happens with the visa process? They want to know which course you applied to, yeah, what offer you got, what makes you suitable for this program, where you're going to stay, where you're going to, those kind of things. Where is the financial model to actually support what you're doing? Yeah. So all of that needs to be there. Can I, you know, if you haven't got the financial model, which is the critical point, this is another session, I'm sure. Yeah, then it gets really tricky. Yeah, because it's all hand to mouth, and you will not have a good experience at all. And then you don't
Is
have.
there is there a bare minimum on that financial requirements for a student to look at, so that the reason I'm asking this is because this is always a question. Bare minimum, is there a bare minimum
I'm sure
that
there
you
is.
feel, not the
I haven't got a figure in head, but I thought the bare minimum would be that you have enough funds if you're applying for a bachelor program for the first year. So if, for example, the program like ours is £15,000, and the other expense to this is living expenses, yeah, which
exactly.
people often forget because different cities are going to cost different amount. And this is where I talk about saving thousands of pounds. So Cardiff is a fairly cheaper city, cheaper in the sense of cost. Yeah, a lot cheaper than some other cities in the UK. So what happens then is effectively you're looking at, and you need accommodation, of course. You're looking at accommodation, food, clothes, whatever. You're looking at another 8,000 to 10,000 pounds, I would say. Yeah. So this makes it 25,000 pounds, I would argue. But I can get specific advice, and from the experts who actually deal with the visa in terms of how much. But if you're applying for a course, you must have that should be a bare minimum. Because if you haven't got that, because you have to put a deposit down, and before you come to us, before you even get a cash letter or apply, because that you have to be a genuine student. So you put, and then you can. I think you can. There's a financial plan you can pay by installments after that. So yes, I think there is a minimum, but if you have a minimum, level of, in terms of lower fees, then your minimum is even lower in terms of what you pay up front. And can I say that normally that payment is about 3 months or so. I think it's been extended now to 6 months. So you can get a cash letter, so it's up to 6 months before. So it's not, even if you apply today, we wouldn't want your money today. Yeah, it would be in a few months' time. So it's not.
Yeah.
Just about money, but money is important here because you need a financial model and you need a guarantor, basically on your side, normally parents or a close relative.
And another thing that I want to highlight here from your taking, because that really occurred to me. I often get students. I mean, I'm sure most of the consultants do. They want you to just write their personal statement for them. And for me, I mean, I always get criticized for this, but I do not like to entertain a student who does not want to go through the personal statement themselves. I mean, I could help them look over it and let them know this is XYZ grammatical mistake or XYZ that. But if you want to do it from scratch and you want someone else to do it, I mean, for me, it's a no. I don't really like to go that way. But the reason I'm mentioning this here is because I want you to lay the emphasis on this particular thing that I'm going to mention. That if you write your personal statement for the academics, that particular thing that you've written will always stick in your mind, and you just improvise on it with some feedbacks and everything. And once you have a credibility interview with the university, and
Yes.
even after in the visa during the visa process, that those are all the things that have come through your mindset, that's from your brain, from your thinking, critical thinking. And nowhere you will be able to get stuck, because if they ask you any question related to your personal statement or most of the things that you're supposed to do on your own, you'll be able to answer it in a split second. But if I write that for you, which we don't, then you're going to do that rotate system, and you'll be memorizing it, and then that's how you get a blank face at the time. And that's one of the reasons. So I want you to really re-emphasize that. Write your personal statement. Do not criticize the consultant on this.
So let me you hit the nail. I was going to mention it, but look, I think it's a non-starter. If you're going to somebody, it doesn't have to be just a consultant. If you're going to ask somebody else to write your personal statement, your input system is totally wrong. It's crooked. Yeah, crooked means it's bent. Yeah, and so it's like that. It's like certificates, by the way, as well. Can I say? I mean, if you want horror stories, I've sat in consulates with British consulates who have told me, Dr. Fiaz, these certificates got down the road. Yeah, and and those kind of things. That is not what you want. Yeah. So the reason I say that, yeah, it's like going to a restaurant. Yeah, if the chef doesn't know how to cook, yeah, would you eat that food?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing here is that if you don't know how to make the right application here, which is the ingredients here, you put the ingredients, the food you get at the end, then people like myself and others will be able to do straight off. I read. I give you an example. It's it's not directly. It's related to this, where it's not the student's own work. Yeah, like an artist, they can look at a picture and say, criticize it. Me and you look, wow, that's a brilliant picture, yeah. But the artist has something else, okay. And it's the same thing with for any profession. So our profession, I read a statement, I can tell. I can 9 out of 10. I can tell whether it's the person's written, the way they've written it, and so on. Agents are not any better at writing the statement as the student is. Let's be very clear, yeah, because they've got a day job to do, yeah, and they're probably using a template. They're probably using an AI, which generated,
Definitely.
yeah, and they're actually what they're doing. They're just repeating that. They haven't got time. Due respect, I hope you don't mind. They're effectively money makers, and I'm looking for a better term. They're actually setting you up to fail. You're going to fail in times, potentially. One is the program. You're probably not going to get an offer. Even if you got the offer, you will fail at the visa stage. Yeah, because like I've said, it's a stepping stone. You now missed a big step. Yeah, that you haven't personalized. First question, anybody sensible is going to ask you is, why do you want to do this program? Yeah, and if you haven't answered, they will see, by the way, they will, at the visa stage, they will see your application, your personal statement, and they must have seen thousands of these. They see these, yeah, they couldn't read it through. So I always say, write less, but make sure it's your personal statement. Even if half a page, make sure it's not enough, but it's yours. If you don't know what you want, you're asking somebody else. It's like you're in a restaurant again, and you're asking somebody else. Your waiter said, "Oh, what would you like to eat?" Because whatever I would like to eat, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, nobody does that. I mean, if you do that, great, good luck for you. But I think often everyone has this. Four people, you're going to have four choices. I'm afraid, And I cannot really look. Yourselves are there. We are here. We are here to help you. I often say to students, this is something I do for our students, is that if you're applying to, I'm more than happy to read through your personal statement. I have guided many students on writing, not just at other places, how to write a personal statement. And also given feedback on personal feedback. This is what I was saying about the informal process that I have. Yeah. I'm working at the university. I've got a day job. This is
I
what I have.
already have so many sessions in my mind. As the way you're talking, I'm thinking we've got a special session on this. I mean, I could think of four right now: application, visa, personal
Yes.
statement.
Oh, we haven't talked about ranking and scholarships yet, but that's another story.
So,
So
Dr.
let's,
Saab,
I
yeah,
know
please, please.
time's coming to an end. I just want to say, look, everyone who's listening, the whole point of this is to help you. We're here to help you. We have to guide you. We have to advise you. I'm actually in this behind me is not a background. This is actually the building. It's school itself. This is live and it's live. And so, real stuff. I can tell you the carpet, color of the carpet and so on, which I think this is important because people have preferences. I noticed that both of us are wearing blue shirts, so
Yeah, I
hopefully
just realized we're twinning.
yeah. Oh, thousands of miles apart, but the technology.
Dr. Saab, one more thing before I mean, we're closing to a bit of time, but another thing. I mean, I'm not sure if you're going to agree. It's okay if you don't agree, but I mean, I'm going to put this forward. When I we have this sessions. I'm not sure if all the consultants do that, but we have this pre-departure session in which I particularly lay emphasis on the culture shock thing and how to get embedded into the society that you go, whether it's UK or anywhere else. And one of the things that I always suggest, I don't force them on any of, but I try to suggest them and make them understand that when you go abroad and you're studying in a university, oftentimes I've found students that they try to find all the, for example, let's say Pakistani individuals, and then there's a form group, and for the next 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, they just hang around that
Yeah,
four, five, six, seven people who are Pakistanis, who are pretty much from the same backgrounds or different backgrounds, different cities, but pretty much from the same cultures. And by the end of it, the universities ended, and some of them come back, some of them go out in the market, and they fail. Whereas I tell them to, while it's good to connect with your culture individuals, but you need to meet other people from other cultures, because UK is so diverse. You've got so many people coming in from all the cultures. They're British nationals, they're Americans, they're Chinese, they're Central Asians, they're, you name it. So you need to go meet them, network with them, understand. I think that will expand their horizon, open their thinking, their way of approaching people, and help them understand how society works in a unanimity. Not just the Pakistani culture aspects. Do you agree with that, or what's your opinion on that?
Well, I do, and let me try to add on what you just said. I think. Look, the reason you come into the UK is to get a global education. And global education doesn't mean that you sit in class and you just listen to a lecturer. It means that your network, network of friends, colleagues, are global. The experience, yes, definitely in the classroom it would be different. The way we deliver things are different. The way things that are in certain parts of the world are different. It doesn't mean it's better than the other. It's just the difference. But it's the network. Now, I would say the strength of what we do. That's what we bring to in the UK. For summer and some schools and international weeks. And I send students abroad to South Korea, to China, to other parts of the world, to India, to Pakistan, to Egypt, Morocco and places. Why are students going there? Because networking. We're trying to understand. We're trying to experience. We're trying to breathe different cultures. If you want a particular type of culture, if you want to stay with your own type, there's nothing wrong with that. By the way, it always feels you're more comfortable. You can talk in a certain language, maybe you can probably eat a certain food and so on. There's nothing wrong with that. But being exclusive, let's say for 3 years, you see the same, you breathe in the same oxygen that you were doing at home, wherever home is. And what have you achieved?
True.
You really haven't benefited. I often, when I start advising students, I actually don't talk about the programs as much. I talk about off campus because much of the time students are going to spend off campus. And you'll be surprised at how shocked people are when I start talking about off campus. They don't know, I said, look, I've already done the homework. I mean, it's on the website. If you want information, I can point you. I can talk about the program a little bit, but let me tell you that most of the time you're going to spend off campus. I already said there's a lot of holidays in the UK. You're talking about up to 3 months, more than that over the summer in the UK. This is for undergraduate program.
Good amount of
And
time.
Christmas is at least 2 to 3, 4 weeks sometimes, and then you have Easter break as well. So you can see there's, you have several months that are free. Yeah. And so it's important that the environment that you live in outside is important, that is conducive. Yeah. Because that's where the network. Look, I worked in Germany. You can ask me how much German I speak. I don't really speak a word of German. I worked there for 3 years. And I caught the bus as well. Can you imagine, and wonderful people, wonderful environment, by the way. But can you imagine going into the bus, not speaking a language on a Monday morning, we say, with a rush hour, with everybody, a bus, and they all look at you, and, you have to tell the driver where you have to go. But I learned so much from that, And so and I had German friends and so on, and it's just wonderful. And they spoke beautiful English, by the way. And that's why they didn't want me to speak the language, but I blended in. I didn't go with my own tie. I took the map out, I went around. Same thing in Dubai, I think, look, you have to breathe the culture, the heritage, the tradition of places. Yes, yeah. Being in the class is great. You learn a lot, different ways of delivery, methodologies and techniques. You're learning that, but you're learning also how people work, how human beings. You're also building your network. Yeah, and I know that you got a brilliant network of social media followers. Yeah,
Not like yours. Not like yours.
yeah, yeah. But the point I'm trying to make, this network is for life. Yeah, because you all are, you'll be together at Cardiff Met, let's say, but then you'll wander off into your own careers, and then in life you'll come back again at different points for different reasons. Yeah, how many friends, how many friends do I know when I was in the university and so on? Yeah, those are the networks. So so when people talk about international, typically talking about what? They're talking about a certificate or a title, and that's what they're talking about. But it's much more than that. And you're paying for that. You're paying for that oxygen as well, by the way. And so if people are wondering why it's costing, that's also paying for. Because the environment also outside, also, so dealing with, I talked about bus drivers and so on in the UK, but the Germany and UK, but the other, is working and trying to see a different environment and different, different approaches to life and being able to work from people in life, because we're all human beings, we're sensitive, we have emotions, we have passion, so on. That is very important, So it's very important that you don't have, if I don't want to name any foods, but if you don't eat the same food every time, because when you are aware, your breakfast needs to be different, your lunch needs to be different, your needs to be different, and at the end of the day, think of it like this, you're in a toy shop, yeah. It's up to you whether you just want to play with one toy and learn about that in 3 years, or whether you want to play with several toys and put that on your CV. It's up to you.
True. True. Dr. Faz, before we call it a day, I mean, one you were talking about off campus, and we all know that majority of the students that come from third world country do end up do working the part-time allowed working hours, 20 hours, 18 hours, depending whatever it's allowed on your visa and your university allows. What I want you to talk about is the the type of work they want to do. I mean, I do understand that sometimes you just don't have the opportunity. You end up working in a 9/11, which is fine, but I want you to talk about the importance of what kind of part-time work you're into, because sometimes I've seen some individuals that end up working with their teachers as a TA or something like from those sides, and they really end up getting some really productive information out of that. And by the end of their degree, they have this knowledge, this industrial knowledge that the students who've been working in 9/11 or March, they don't get that information. So please, talk about something.
No, it's a very good question. It's an excellent question. Here we are dealing with two mindsets. You've got the UK student mindset, I believe is one way of looking at things, and you got the international mindset, which is a different mindset. So the UK mindset is this: that basically work is work, yeah, irrespective of what the work is. Yeah, you're basically just doing work, and often they don't work in the discipline they're learning or in the subject area they're studying. Yeah, they want to do something different, something they don't have to think about, just go out, chill out, make some money. And I'm just generalizing here, by the way. Make some money. Everyone's talking about money, but it's the experience. Just make them money, get some experience, and Bob's your uncle. And, we say Bob's your uncle, meaning everything's fine, and make some Bob and, make some money, and that's it. That's great. Sometimes you're lucky, you are able to get a part-time job that is in your subject area, or related to something you're doing. Sometimes you're lucky. In life, you have to work towards making your own luck. That's another session for you. Yeah, we could talk about that for all day. But yeah, so that's the UK. that's the UK mindset. International students, they have an interesting, because they're coming from certain cultures where certain jobs are seen as, with due respect, they're probably not seen as high level. Let's put it this way. And sometimes the students are coming with weak expectation. I wouldn't say false expectations. They come with weak expectation where deadlines. In our country, yeah, they do this job. These are the kind of people who job. We are not going to do that job, and that often is a hindrance, because that is not the type of jobs that students will. Unless you have the experience, unless you have certificates and stuff like that, certain jobs you can't touch. Yeah. So students with that mindset, and often it's international students, I have to say, yeah, it's a no-no. Not most, there are some like that. Yeah? But having said that, I think, so there are jobs around. They're typically working in shops or food outlets and stuff like that. They are seen in reception areas, but most of these jobs are off campus. I think to get a job in the university before you arrive here, I don't think that would be a different type of visa then, and so on. You need a work visa for that kind of. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, but having said that, I think we are very good. We have an international careers consultant, we call them, yes, and effectively that person's role is to work with international students, yeah, and try to find them local jobs and companies. Yeah, believe
Nice.
me. Yeah, and believe me, obviously I know the person, I work with him, is very, very active. And to be honest with you, I'm really taken back how many jobs he can actually offer. Basically, the opportunities that we are offering. Yeah, how much is there? So these are, this is the cruise. But having a dedicated person, not all universities have that, from my experience. But we have a dedicated person, and he's very, very good, and he's on the social platform as well. So he advertised Cardiff Met, but it's open to general public. They can have a look at it as well, to actually see what career. So that's very important. Second thing is, there are like student ambassador jobs within the university. Student union have certain jobs and some things like, but they're small. And I don't want to raise people's expectations. They can come, will have fantastic jobs, and all of that. But there are opportunities, and of course there are lots of, this is why people come to the UK. There's a lot of part-time jobs, and lots of
Opportunities.
fixed term, yeah, lots of opportunities. And and of course part-time job doesn't mean you just do one job. You can multiple jobs if you have the time. Yeah. So I think it's the experience. There's a different, every culture, every place has a different way of working. Yeah. Okay. Somebody was saying to me today, we were comparing universities actually. That person is international. I won't mention which country they come from, and I was talking with them only this morning, and they said that their university is very, very stressful, very stressful. Their degree, very stressful. The professors were really not, nice to them. They were very demanding, pushy, and in here, and that person felt quite relaxed, and they felt too relaxed, thinking, why aren't anybody doing anything for me? Yeah, yeah, because and then they were saying, how come, I can walk into any of the workshops you have, where before it was just my subject area. In my case, for example, if you're a fashion designer, you can do ceramics here, or you can do printing here, or you can do woodwork here. You with me? So interdisciplinary. Why I'm saying this? Because it broadens, it's your CV. So you have different jobs, and sometimes we think of them as paid jobs. By the way, I am most international, but this is about having the currency for later on life, taking up some voluntary work. Yeah, voluntary sector is a big sector in the UK where you don't get any. Your students are probably laughing like anything. Who would do any work? Don't get paid. Well, of us do actually, and that's because, like now, we want to contribute something back in society. We want to be the good Samaritans, or we try to be. And there's a lot of charitable work. Charity doesn't just mean raising money, but it's helping others. You got the elderly, you got the vulnerable, you got other people who have space or needs of any kind, and you're trying to help. So it's building the. Now, this is really what you're doing. You're saving. This big thing. I'm talking about banking now. When you start to save, yeah, you're saving this thing for the future. So when you go for employment after your graduation, when they look at that would be the wow factor, because everyone's going to have a degree, by the way. You're competing with your colleague or colleagues, but when they look at you went the extra mile, that matters. So there are opportunities. No students come back to me and say, I can't find any work. There are works, but if you are fussy and you're selective, then it will take a little while to get the work you're looking for. I often say to students, look, go for something that you'll be happy with. It fits in with your lifestyle as well as the learning lifestyle, and go for it. Put it on your CV. Yeah, you've done this and that. Imagine going back country and say, wow, I was there for a year, but I worked in 6 different places. This is what I've done. So I've had, just to give you an example, I had a student who was working in one of the supermarkets. He was an IT student, one of my graduates, and he couldn't find. And this is after he graduated. Cutting long story short, within 3 months, he managed. I showed him a job. 3 months, he got the job. He sold. So he was talking about how effectively he was working in the supermarket. It was an ace presentation. Yeah, he wasn't international. He was a home student, but his family was from abroad. And he did fantastic. And he was working. Now he's working in the city. City means London, where all the big money is. Yeah. And so that's bank finance and so on. So what I'm trying to say is that, look, you have to start to have a humble beginning. Everybody has humble. If anybody says that they were already multimillionaires and everything, they had big cars and so on, maybe one or two had, but most haven't. you have to start with a humble beginning, and then you have to have certain aspirations. Yeah, jobs and stuff like that will come, but these are not your priorities, I would say. And if you go for the visa and you talk about, oh, I want this job and that job, that's it. You're going to be that visa is not going to come through because you're in the wrong place. Yeah, but I think there's nothing wrong, by the way, in thinking that hoping that you'll get a job in your subject area. Can I say that? That makes it very clear. Yeah, and we will help you to actually do that. If you're in fashion, for example, our students from I'm doing fashion, it could be interior design. We have students here who actually are jobs, and they're setting up their offices as well. Yeah, I'm not saying that internationally you can do that, but I'm just saying these are the kind of things that are available. Uh, but you won't be short of options and Afro choices in the UK. And this is why when you talk about international, people just students just look at, oh, what's happening in the classroom? It's just a certificate. It's much more than that. It's a game changer. Yeah, and what happens is that wherever you go again. Yeah, I went to Dubai. I was actually doing what I was doing in the UK in Dubai. And what I was doing, what I was learning, and because it's the way you think, it's the way you process things, it's the way I'm presenting now. Where did I pick that up? Yeah, it's through the environment, the water I'm swimming in, the oxygen I'm breathing. Yeah, it's a game changer. I send my students abroad, and when they go abroad, they go for normally for 1 week or so because it's costly. Yeah, game changer. I'm not saying that they come back and this my life has changed so much so that in the way they design the thinking changes, and then they relate to that particular country, whether it's Pakistan, whether it's China, whether it's South Korea, and so on. And so yeah, I think, but that is a low priority at this stage. Can I say that? But it is one of those things, and it's very important that I can only talk about Cardiff Max here, but it's very important to come to a city like Cardiff. There are jobs available and opportunities available. By the way,
Well,
can I
yeah.
just finish here? There are many students who don't work, they choose not to work and just focus on their studies and things. It's yours. We can't force you to work. It's up to you. But you shouldn't be thinking here that I'm going to work and make lots of money. You are going to make good money, but that's not going to pay the bills as much as you may think.
Well, there you go, viewers. You need to start invoking critical thinking, have an intent, know what you're about to do, what you're going to do when you go there, and be focused, be thoughtful, and be ready to work hard for yourself to
Yeah.
be successful. And once you do that, everything's going to start falling in place. And if it doesn't, then we have Dr. Fiaz there with us, and you have us to help you out as well. Don't worry about that. So for anyone who's going to be watching this later on, who's watching right now, you can get in touch with me if you want to start your study abroad journey for UK, especially for Cardiff Metropolitan University. We've seen so many, we've heard, seen, and discussed so many wonderful, elements within Cardiff Metropolitan University that could be your really future university to go to. So for that, Dr. Fiaz is offered openly for the International Week as well, for you to come and visit the university, and for other aspects as well, especially personal statements. So remember, all these things matter, and everything has to be done one step at a time with patience, but and with thought processing. So get in touch with us, and if you face any problems, we're here to help you. Dr. Fiaz Hussain is here to help you. His details are on the posters of our post as well. And Cardiff Metropolitan University, like Dr. Fiaz says, is affordable, it's valuable, and it's in a place where you can get a lot of opportunities regarding jobs as well for future, because I know a lot of you might be thinking for that as well. So yeah, get in touch. So thank you, Dr. Fiaz, for being here for today. I think if we continue, we can go for another couple of hours, but I think we should save for the next sessions. So thank you so much for being here. And if you want to give one suggestion, opinion, or advice to anyone who's going to be watching this or is watching this is your time, and then we'll call it a day.
I think you need to live your dreams. If you have a dream in life, live it. And, there's nothing stopping you apart from yourself. And that's what I would say.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Live your dreams, Dr. Fiaz says, and thank you. And we'll be back again with another exciting episode. And we might as well bug Dr. Fiaz again for another session. I have already 5 in mind, Dr. Fiaz. Thank you again, and let's call it a day. Thank you.
Thank you as well. Thank you.